Okay. So, hello, good evening, namaskar, adab, sat sri akal. I welcome you all today on the 21st of February to another English poetry meeting on the LWG platform, the Literary Warrior Groups. And I am your host today, Dr. Anshu Sharma, joining from New Delhi, and I bring you some of the very impressive, esteemed poets from all over India who are going to recite on various topics on an open theme tonight. Well, we are having here Padmaja Iyengar from Hyderabad, Purnima Rao from Jabalpur, Rita
Namaste.
Malhotra from Mumbai, Somdatta Mitra from Kolkata, and Neelam
Namaskar.
herself from Kolkata again, and myself, Dr. Anshu Sharma, I'm joining from New Delhi. So I hope to have a very what would you like to say, a very impressive and a very lively evening with all of you tonight. I'm really grateful to Neelam, Saxena and Literary Warriors Group for giving us this platform to share our feelings, to share our emotions. And I'm also thankful to you all for joining tonight, my colleagues, my friends, my dear poets, and to the larger audience who are going to join us online. I'm also grateful to all those people who will probably listen to this program later on after the live stream ends. So, before I start introducing the poets and their poems, I would like to share a few important trivia about 21st February. Why is 21st February important for us? So it is 21st February is observed, this day is observed every year in India and Bangladesh as the National Mother Language Day. And the day is a national holiday in Bangladesh. On this day, they pay tribute to the martyrs who laid down their lives to establish an Bangla as a national language in the undivided India in 1952. And National Mother Language Day is important also to promote various languages and to preserve these languages and multilingualism. So this is about 21st February. I will also add more trivia about Joan of Arc, about other things later on in the program. But before that, I would like to start with today's meeting, inviting our first senior most poet, Padmaja Iyengar, today. Padmaja ji, or Paddy as we call her dearly, she's a senior ex-banker and former urban governance consultant. She has edited 6 international multilingual poetry anthologies and 4 English poetry anthologies, of which Amravati Poetic Prism 2016 to 2019 have been recognized by the Limca Book of Records as poetry anthology in most languages. Paddy's poetry collection Pen Chants has been recognized by the India Book of Records for never before attempted management subjects and movie reviews in rhyming poetry. Pen Chants again is her latest poetry collection. She is a recipient of several awards. She was conferred the honorary degree of Doctor of Literature, that is DLit, in November 2024 at the 43rd World Congress of Poets. So Padmajaji, please come forward with your poem, Eternal Bond, as you have shared with me. You're most welcome. You're muted, Padmajaji. Can you kindly unmute yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible now? Yeah. Um, Thank you, Dr. Anshu Sharma ji, for that lovely introduction. And hello to all of you and to the audience who has joined us on Facebook. My first poem, Eternal Bond. I'm in some kind of a strange stupor, a feeling of being there, yet not there. I hear some snippets of conversation between the doctor and my husband. Will she be able to pull through this? Everything will depend on her will to fight the enemy and survive, her will to pull off a miracle and be alive. Who are they talking about? Who's the she? Is this about me? Where am I? Suddenly, I felt myself in a paradise like place where my husband and I are locked in a gaze, our eyes full of love, faith, peace, and empathy. No words were needed in this moment of brevity. As we were locked in a tight embrace, cheered on by our good and bad days, our body, mind, heart, and soul seemed as one. No space for any doubt or any confusion. Again, I heard sounds around me. Doctor, is she there? Is she gone? She's not moving, but her lips are. What is she trying to communicate? I wish to tell them I see a white dove flying in with the message of the divine love, shared by my husband and me lifelong, having the capacity to right every wrong. I opened my eyes and smiled at him. I saw his tears through my vision dim. I knew then we are in this fight together, and this storm too we shall both weather. Thank you. Since the theme was love, I thought this would perhaps,
Wonderful,
that's all it would
wonderful.
add.
Very apt theme you have chosen, Padmajaji, because this is spring and Valentine's, and
Yes.
love is the most important element in this time. So, very, very apt team, and you've defined your bond with your partner, with your spouse very well in this poem.
An imaginary
So,
one.
sorry. Okay, imaginary or not, it was very real for us
Thank you.
when you were reciting it. So, great. And Neelam, would you like to say anything?
As usual, Padima's poems are have means whatever I've heard, and I've heard a lot, are very poignant. So I love them, and her style of rendition is also wonderful.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
So, coming forward in this meeting, I would now invite Purnima Rao, Mrs. Purnima Rao from Jabalpur. She is a postgraduate in physics from the University of Mysore and B.Ed from the Annamalai University, a teacher by profession, teaching physics at the plus two levels. She retired after serving for a mammoth 37 years from a prestigious school in Jabalpur, MP, Madhya Pradesh. She has a passion to learn and to understand languages in their depth. She pens down her thoughts either as prose or poetry on issues that touch her heart. Her poems have been published in four anthologies: Goonj, The Breaking of Shackles, Waqt and Unscrambling of Time, and Sri Ram Yug Purush, and Mosaic of Poetical Musings. She is interested in understanding the scriptures in depth, and she is also currently pursuing Gita chanting and studying through online classes. So, Purnima ji, of multi diverse talents, You are welcome
Thank you,
to come and
Anshuji. Thank
recite your
you.
poem.
Thank
Today,
you
I
so
think
much.
you're going to recite your poem called The Dip, which is
Yes,
based on your experiences with Mahakumbh. Yeah.
yes.
So
Thank you.
please, you're welcome.
I'm only shining here by reflection because I'm just surrounded by stars and I'm not even a lamp. So please bear with me and my poem too. Now my poem is titled The Dip. The faithful dip. They dip in faith, cleansed of sin, in tilaks red in yellow, beaming in bliss, untie their small bale of cloth in clutch to relish the humble spread, to relish their humble spread. Sadhus and sadhvis dip. They dip in orange pious, watches commoner in awe, their ash-smeared frames in beads and rudraksh. Matted hair gets dripping wet as conches sound divine. The ostentatious dip, their dip of tagged prizes, wet gold chain glistens as hands raise in join, bangles heavy slide in their noisy clank, mumbled chanting drowns. Men on duty dip, their dip of brief respite, sore legs the water laps, tiredness a bit dissolves. In barter, new energy creeps up from the sand below to light up each weary face. Powerful plus sycophant dip, hypocrites in disguise dip, the infirm and the firm dip, bargainer in the trader dips, believer in the doubter dips, the dog, the cat, the birdie dip, in the confluence all dip. Rivers two, and the third hidden, unbiased, let each one dip, judging none, silently flow. Promises, promises none they ever make of deliverance or of salvation. In humility, embrace the throng of the surging multitude of the Sanatan. In humility, embrace the throng of the surging multitude of the Sanatan. Thank you.
Excellent. Wow. You
Thank
described
you,
so
ma'am.
well Mahakumbh and the various types of dips.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
totally,
Thank you.
I'm dumbfounded. Yeah.
Uh,
Neelam, what would you like to say about her poem?
Purnima ji has a very different style of writing as well as rendering, and hats off to her for such wonderful poems. Thank you, Purnima
Thank
ji.
you. Thank you for
Thank you,
encouraging.
Purnima Anybody
And
would
thank you
like to
so
comment?
much for the beautiful platform that you have given us. Thank you so much.
Okay, so uh, before I start again, I would just like to say that today's poems are based on an open theme. You can speak on anything. However, February is a time of spring, of love, romance, and also the Mahakumbh is going on. So you had a big variety to choose from. Your choices were many. So I'm sure we'll have a variety of poems. And now I invite another very esteemed poet on this platform, Rita Malhotra ji. Rita Malhotra is a National Science Talent Scholar and National Scholarship Awardee by the Ministry of Education. She's a mathematician, poet, essayist, and a translator. A former principal, KNC University of Delhi, and postdoctoral fellow, University of Paris. She is currently the President, PAC India, and World Poetry Ambassador to India, courtesy WP Canada. Her academic and literary writings, that are about 600 plus citations, are globally published and translated into 14 languages, to name a few: French, Spanish, Hungarian, Serbian, Hebrew. She has 16 published books. Recognitions include the honor of the WCP 2019-2024, Distinguished Poet Award, Canada, honor for international relations and cultural, Romania, besides others. She has been an invited literary speaker at writers' meets across the globe. So we are happy and we are honored to have you today, Rita ji. Dr. Rita Malhotra, please come and render your poem, Chrysanthemums, as you have mentioned. Please go ahead. Thank you. You have to unmute yourself, Rita ji.
Yeah, this is also a love poem, but I write a lot on women's issues and also part of an angry poem, but it is not so angry as it is about love. It's called Chrysanthemums. We were brought up by the rule book that spelt love for us daughters as immoral, infidel, masked, contagious. Dreams were cached within constrained confines. The self remained dwarfed, bonsai-like, unable to reach beyond its grasp. But a moment of wild defiance unleashed a tempestuous will to self-expression. A moment of wild defiance unleashed a tempestuous will to self-expression as I followed love's trail, scanning the horizon of darkness to arrive at the moonlit patch of a perplexed night. A night that witnessed love's intimate dance in the sensual celebration of intimacy between soul, mind, and body. With the first footfall of dawn, I tore all pages of the book of norms, the book of rules. I made paper flowers out of them. This morning, they have metamorphosed into golden orange chrysanthemums. Thank you so much.
Very nice. Very nice.
Lovely, lovely, Rita ji. That was excellent. A
Wonderful.
comparison.
The wild moment and the paper flowers, really very, very, very nice imagery. Beautiful.
Very beautiful. Neelam, what would you like to say?
Well, though I was out of studio, but I could hear, and I was means I'm listening to Rita ji for the first time, though we have chatted several times, and I certainly found the poem very interesting and written in a beautiful way.
Thank you. Thank you. Paddy, would you like to say anything about her poem? Paddy? You are unmute. You have to unmute.
Thank you. I could relate to her poem myself because, we are more or less from the same generation. So in our childhood we have also been controlled and told what's right, what's wrong, and love was a word, it was a taboo kind of a word. So I could very well relate
True,
to the
true that, true that. Yeah.
Even now in many communities, Padmaja,
true.
it's still there. And because I said I write a lot about the women, the
Yes,
exploitation
Yeah,
and
it
all,
is
and the
taboo. Yeah,
empowerment also.
definitely.
true,
Yeah.
true.
Thank you.
True that.
Thank you.
So, bringing the meat forward, I would now invite Somdatta Mitra. Somdatta, she's a resident of Howrah, West Bengal. She's a postgraduate in English literature from Delhi University, a published writer, a painter, an orator, a peace ambassador, and an entrepreneur. So she throngs all these hats, and she's a recipient of many national and international literary awards. Pivotal among them are the 3 world records from Inkzoid publication and Glorious Book of Records. She has recently published her debut solo book, The Spectrum of Emotions, published by Writers World publication. She's a co-author in more than 1,500 anthologies. She has recently received Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Bharatiya Ratna Samman by Worthy Wellness Foundation. So that is Somdatta Mitra for us. Welcome, Somdatta, with your poem. As you've mentioned, you are going to recite today uh, the poem, which is, I'm forgetting the name. Please come ahead and recite your poem. Yeah, I have
Thank you,
the other
Dr.
one. Yeah.
Anshu Sharma, for giving such a wonderful, description about me. That is a lot of honor. And I feel like being a disciple here in front of so many, distinguished luminaries present here in this platform, learning a lot from all of you. And I thank Neelam Saxena ji for giving me this opportunity to recite. Uh, Today, my title of this poem is An Odyssey in Life for Peace. Chasing a mirror which reflects my real identity, an odyssey that I embark in search of an eternal peace. The fear that is buried inside to confront conflicts and wars. Today, I burn it into ashes of revival that refine the scars. Ripples in my heart flow in its tender streams, where everlasting peace dwell in a fervor and share blessings, chapters that are still unread in my soul's desiccated corners, today leverage to speak with its own velocity in wonders. Searching peace in an innate devotion with righteousness, I have worshipped humanity in different smiles with kindness, sharing affection to engender a vignette of peace. The emotions that flutter today paint a rainbow in my heart. There is no better life to feel the essence of happiness than to be empathetic towards others and comfort with heartfeltness. In mourning or in catastrophe, the support that one needs to lend a shoulder for touching lives, where freedom allows self love and honest revelations, and through eternal peace, life receives spiritual salvation. One's life turns into a blessing, while in death, there is no anxiety or fear for a soul's restlessness. Thank you so much.
Wow, beautiful. So well recited and um such a thought-provoking one, I think. This poem really it touches your heart, very heart-touching, I would say. Padmajaji, what would
Thank
you
you.
like to say about Somdatta's poem? You have to unmute yourself. Padmajaji, you have to unmute yourself. Unmute.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I forget where the unmute thing is, So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
this was a very heart-touching poem, and it was there was a kind of poignancy and pathos along with the the emotions that she was trying to convey, and
Yeah. The
I think
message.
all
Yeah.
of us in
Totally.
some way could relate to that poem very well.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Somdatta ji.
Purnima, would
Thank
you like to comment on her poem?
Thank you
I,
so much.
the line that touched me was worship humanity. That is, it's really sending out a very strong message to what should be worshipped.
you.
Thank you so
Very
much.
true.
It was
Very
a
true.
strong poem.
Yeah. And we are getting such beautiful comments on our platform from various uh, eminent poets and our members, LWG members, and other audience. So I would like Neelam to read out the comments after the first round is over. So Neelam, and now coming back to Neelam, our Masiha today, I would say. She has come and joined and being with us. So we are grateful to you, Neelam, for this platform, for our meetings, and for everything actually. So for this group, and we all have shown through this platform. We all have really got refined through this, and so now I invite you for your poem. Before that, I would like to give a few words about Neelam's bio. This is really short. I would like to say much more than this, but due to paucity of time, I have to limit to this a small paragraph. Neelam Saxena Chandra is the author of 77 books and holds 3 records in the Limca Book of Records. She has been honored with the Sohan Lal Dwivedi Puraskar for Children's Literature by the Maharashtra State
Wow,
Hindi
thank you.
Sahitya Academy, the Premchand Award by the Ministry of Railways, the Rabindranath Tagore International Poetry Award, the Freedom Award by Radio City for Lyrics, and the Real Lifetime Achievement Award, among many other accolades. In 2014, Forbes India recognized her as one of the 78 most popular authors in the country. I'm sure there are many more accolades and achievements and many more laurels to her uh, uh, face and identity over here. But now I would like to welcome you with your poem, The Lagoon, as you have mentioned. Neelam, please come forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anshu. And as I always say, this is not only my platform, it is everybody's platform. And today, all the poets in the studio are all stalwarts and have been a part of Literary Warriors group since long. Some right from the moment we introduced this concept, like Padima. And Purnima ji has also been there since long. Dr. Anshu herself has been since long. And Somdatta since a year or so. And Dr. Rita, I think 5-6 months ago. So, coming back to my poem, it's a very short poem, but you have to see this poem as a metaphor, and it refers to a woman who doesn't have a choice and who is locked up in the sense, well, you'll get to know as I render the poem. So here goes the poem. A lagoon you become, beautiful, picturesque, a painter's delight. A lagoon you become, beautiful, picturesque, a painter's delight. But you're locked, can't let your flow mix. but you are locked, can't let your flow mix. In short, you get rotten. Others may not find the foul smell. You do, in the veins of your heart. Others may not find the foul smell. You do, in the veins of your heart. Your thoughts long to mix with the vast ocean of unexplored territories, fighting the dangers, absorbing the salinity, becoming the waves and moving around the world, touching the banks with happiness. But you can't. But you can't. You're meant to remain a lagoon, beautiful, picturesque, a painter's delight. So that was my poem, Lagoon.
That was so good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So very true and tragic, but yes, so very true.
Yes.
Neelam.
Can
Excellent.
I say something?
Definitely, Rita ji. Please go
Two
ahead.
things, Neelamji. First of all, as I said, when I shifted to Mumbai, I was very depressed, missing Delhi and the poetry circle. It was Neelamji who gave me a second life in poetry. It was just by chance, Patty would know, when I was returning for the World Congress. And I was supposed to call her, but I was in the flight and she called. And that was that moment, when she put me on LWG, and since then the opportunity and her programs every month where she conducts a kind of contest, it is making us write more. Otherwise, I had almost stopped writing new poetry. So thank you,
That's so
Neelamji, for
true. That's
so
so
much. And
true.
of course, for the platform and
Yeah,
Anshuji and
so
LWG.
true.
And you touched my
Thanks from
heart
all of us,
because
Neelam.
yes, and because of the woman issue that you brought it, yes, it's a short poem, but once you say that she's supposed to be beautiful, not much else, I mean, that says it all. So much said in minimalist lines. Thank you. And I am very much into this, for long. Someday we'll share thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rita.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we are all
And
lagoon of some kind or the other, the women.
There are so
very
many
true.
lagoons out there, and ma'am has highlighted one such.
Exactly. Exactly.
Purnima ji, fine
Yeah.
on you. You have to call me Neelam. No, ma'am. So I suppose it's time to invite Dr. Anshu for a poem. Paddy, Ma, can you?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Sure. It's,
Thank you. Thank you.
am I? I'm not unmuted. Okay. It's truly an honor for me to introduce our excellent anchor today, the host today, Dr. Anshu Sharma. Dr. Anshu Sharma is a bilingual poet writing in Hindi as well as English. And in addition, she's a medical graduate and postgraduate from Delhi University and has pursued a successful career. She worked as a public health officer and an avid COVID warrior. She's currently actively engaged in teaching yoga, in social service projects, writing poetry, and globetrotting as a travel enthusiast. Her debut poetry collection in Hindi, Antarman Ke Samvad, was published in 2020. Her poems focused on various social, environmental issues, and nature have been published in anthologies and in magazines. She also writes in health and yoga magazines and participates frequently in health talks. I have great pleasure now in inviting and requesting Dr. Anshu Sharma to please read her poem. Over to you, Anshu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Padmajaji, for that lovely introduction. And I'm so honored and happy and pleased to be in such wonderful company today, and such esteemed poets. Such wonderful poems have been rendered. I don't know if my poem will touch your heart, but definitely I'm going to recite one. Um, Talk about the spring and love and the feelings of romance that this season brings. So, my poem is called The Blooming of Love in Spring. When the soft petals dance on the notes of breeze, when the soft petals dance on the notes of breeze, beneath the dense people trees, I take your hands in mine. Our love awakens in golden light. When the birds sing notes so sweet, the blossoms bloom where lovers meet. The jasmine fills the air with scents as we lose ourselves in a soft embrace. Spring rains kiss the earth so blue. Spring rains kiss the earth so true. Like my lips are drawn to you in fields of green and skies so wide. Love like spring won't hide inside.
True.
The quail awakes us with her tune. The quail wakes us with a tune, singing soft tunes of love in Dune. But nothing sounds so true or sweet as your whispers close to me. But nothing sounds so sweet or true as your whispers close to me. The myna comes and sings at our window pane, its voice coolest in the spring rain. But even in the moments of blue, the song I most cherish is you. The song I most cherish is you. The winds blow as we walk slow. The winds blow as we walk slow through the meadows where rhododendrons grow. Through the meadows where the rhododendrons grow, their gentle hues defy all that's untrue. Their gentle hues defy all that's untrue, yet nothing as tender as our love that grew. Nothing as tender as our love that grew. So that was my poem. Thank you about spring and love.
That was a
Yeah.
wonderful poem, Dr. Anshu.
Thank you. Thank you.
And since you
Thank you,
asked
Neelam.
me to say something about the poets who've joined us, Prasanna joined us and says superb. Rohit Sidhu says good evening. Seta Luri Padma has been there throughout. Jayashri Jain has been throughout. And Anuradha was also there. And she says, lovely to see you, Paddy and Neelam Saxena. Padma says a lovely poem, Paddy, beautiful thoughts and well expressed. Jayashri says deep love, wonderful. This is for Paddy. Gayatri Joshi, Namaskar. Chaya Singh has joined today. Hello, Chaya ji, after long seeing you. So she says, hi, Purnima Rao. Good evening, all the poets. Jayashri says, very relevant. Mahakumbh beautifully visualized and penned, excellent recitation. Padma says, just judging none, it's the catchy line. Good expression, Purnima. She says, I loved your rendition to Purnima. Chaya says, very beautiful poem. And uh, Acha, Purnima Rao ji has only commented. Then Usha Swaminathan ji has joined. And she says, Purnima, very nice poem. Jayashri also says, very nice poem. Then Padma's messages for Rita, tour of pages of nouns, what a line it is. Rita, powerful poem which truly inspires the listeners. Chaya Singh ji also likes your poem. Satbir Chadda ji has also joined. She says, hello Neelam, hello friends. Padma says, nice to know about all your achievements. So much. And Satbir ji gives love to Somdatta. And Padma says, I worshipped humanity. This sums up everything, Somdatta. Jayashri also likes your poem. Chaya Singh also likes your poem. Chaya says she's happy to meet me. Online, of course. Padma also expresses a pleasure to be connected to LWG. And Chaya ji is expressing her happiness. Padma is saying wonderfully written poem and the way you compared a woman with lagoon. Satbir ji says Neelam poignant and meaningful. Padma says the way you want everyone to get connected is great. Again, she says, good to know you, Dr. Anshu. What a wonderful life journey. Impressive. Indeed, it is impressive. I have known Dr. Anshu since long and met her several times. She further adds, it's a soothing, sensible, and good imagery used in your poem. Anshu ji loved it. Sadhbir ji says, Dr. Anshu, it's a pop, rogondly romantic. Chaya ji says, so true, Anju ji. So that's it in the first round. Over to you, Dr. Anshu, once again.
Thank you, Neelam. That was so gratifying. All these comments and all these compliments, they really lift your spirits up. As before we start our second round, as I promised, I would uh, recite some more trivia about 21st February. 21st February is the 52nd day in the Gregorian calendar. On this day, Steve Fawcett became the first person to cross the Pacific Ocean in a balloon. Major figures in the Watergate scandal were sentenced to prison, and the New Yorker newspaper published its first issue. So, all this more about 21st February. On this day, also in a trial demanded by the English, the French heroine Joan of Arc, everybody's heard of Joan of Arc, she was accused of heresy before the judges in Rouen. James I, the King of Scotland, was assassinated by a group of dissident nobles led by the Earl of Athol. So these events, they mark 21st of February, especially the Joan of Arc's first day of interrogation in 1431. 1848, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels published the Communist Manifesto in London. And in 1965, Malcolm X, the American civil rights leader, was assassinated in New York City. So, this about 21st February, and now we come to our second round of poems. And this time, I have reversed the order of recital, and we will invite our own dear Neelam Saxena for her poem now. So, Neelam ji, you are welcome to come and recite your second poem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anshu. So, today is a special day for me also, because for
Okay.
two reasons. First, because I joined Indian Railways today, 31 years
Oh,
ago.
nice.
So I posted also about it. And then I met my husband also for the first time today.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
So, every incident in life sometimes make you sad, and sometimes the same thing makes you happy also. So I've written this poem when I was sad over the same thing. Now I'm happy. So that's poets are moody. So this is
Hmm.
the moody me writing. Soul the Wanderer. Feelings ooze out from wounds that time gives, in leaving behind cities, kith, kin, trees, once my best pals. Feelings ooze out from wounds that time gives, in leaving behind cities, kith, kin, trees, once my best pals. Pals, who listened, who heard my pain, who smelled the saltiness of my hidden tears. Pals, who listened, who heard my pain, who smelled the saltiness of my hidden tears. Pals, who felt the lines on cheeks, those were made up on smiles, which weren't fake without touching. But my soul is that of a wanderer, And life made me a wanderer too. For my work, I keep hopping at times. I love it. Other times, I despise it. But you can always see a smile on my pink lips, whether I'm merry or wretched. You can always see a smile on my pink lips, whether I'm merry or wretched. I've learned the hard way. There's nothing stationary in this world, not even life. I've learned the hard way that there's nothing stationary in this world, not even life. You've to keep wandering between birth, death, and rebirths. Thank you. That was my poem, The Wanderer's Soul.
Wonderful, wonderful, Neelam. I would invite Rita ji to comment on this poem of Neelam's, The Wanderer.
I think the soul is a wanderer. And Neelamji, I like the places where you repeated the lines in your rendition. You know, rendition gives so much of credibility to a poem. So it's not only writing when we render and the way we do and what she really wanted to bring out, she repeated twice. That was one thing that really came across. Otherwise, you are so right. Nothing is permanent except change. And still, you know, today we are meeting. It was Anshuji who came up with love. It was Padmaja who came up with love. You know, ultimately, love is also a wanderer, I would say. I don't know whether it's true or not, but everything is a wanderer. But these are the universal emotions of life. And I think some of the very true emotions of life. So we've absorbed them very well. Now we are going to assimilate them, Neelamji.
Thank you.
Very well
Thank you.
said, very well said. Thank you, Rita ji, for those comments. She's
And now let's
summarized so
invite
well.
Dr. Anshu to render her poem.
Thank you, Neelam. So, coming to my second poem, which is totally different in theme to the first one, I've here tried to recollect and recite some of my childhood memories. So, this poem is called My Childhood Memories. My home of the yesteryears. My home of the yesteryears, where I learnt about my roots and my fears. In the safe, huge umbrella of my family, found our heritage and culture, living ever so happily. A home full of love and small comforts. A home full of love and small comforts, where the walls hummed whispers of tenderness, where the kitchen smelled of ghee and fresh bread, where we shared both silence and word. Where we shared both silence and word. My father, my father strong and upright, like the peepal tree outside. My father strong and upright, like the peepal tree outside. My mother gentle and kind, like the ocean's embrace. My sisters, like God gifted friends. My sisters, like God gifted friends, a little brother who was as wild as the wind. From my mother's hand, from my mother's hand, I learned grace and kindness. In my father's eyes, I saw tears of resilience. In my father's eyes, I saw tears of resilience. In our quiet moments, I learned the strength of stillness. In our quiet moments, I learned the strength of stillness. We blossomed in that loving garden. We blossomed in that loving garden among festivals of Holi, Diwali, and Raksha Bandhan. Scents of sweets and incense filled our home as we exchanged more than gifts, precious time. As we exchanged more than gifts, precious time. We built clay houses to play with dolls and paper boats to float in the rains. We built clay houses to play with dolls and paper boats to float in the rains. We chased shadows across the grass and got dripping wet in the monsoon showers. And got dripping wet in the monsoon showers. Time passed. Time passed, stretched and swayed. Laughter echoes of the past have softened. Laughter echoes of the past have softened. Yet the love remains. The love remains woven in our ears, holding close a tapestry of memories. Holding close a tapestry of memories, connected always through thicks and thins. Connected always through thicks and thins. So that was about my childhood memories. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think that was a beautiful poem because it was filled with nostalgia, and it was like a trip down the memory lane for you. And along with you, we also traveled. So thank you
Yeah,
for the journey, and
for all
thank you
of
for
us.
taking us
For all
along.
of us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Anshul.
And
Lovely.
Anshuji, the whispers of tenderness from the walls. That
Yes.
was
Yeah.
such a nice line. और नीलम जी मैं आपको कहना भूल गई. When you said, was it your line? Feelings ooze out of hurt or wounds, something like that. That was also a very beautiful line. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
everyone. Thank you, everybody.
Even that line,
Uh,
the echoes have softened. That was also so good. I mean, so very
thank you.
poignant there.
I
Thank you,
remember the
Purnima ji.
poem of Rabindranath Tagore's Paper Boats, connecting to your poem, Anshu.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a poem called Paper Boat. I'm so
Okay.
happy, Neelam ji, you are in the land of Tagore. He's my
Yes,
soul and heart.
yes. Even I have
Okay.
written a poem.
Somdatta is also there in Kolkata.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so coming back to our meeting, because the time is short and we still have uh, poets. So Somdatta, I invite you now to render your poem. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for this warm welcome. The next poem's title is Women Are Phenomenal. Uh, like an epiphron, she organs to providence. Her nurtures and adornment of life is vital. She fertiles her womb with new generations. Her benign smile enlightens the world with a strong foundation. She spreads love in abundance. Like a fountain, her emboldened persona sprout devotion and effulgence. She likes to flutter her wings in different directions, to explore the world with her abilities and might in perfection. No matter how much the world has judged her over knowledge, perceptions, abilities, and loyalty, she is phenomenal in gliding and determining her goals. In required dimensions, woman can accost to situations. Often depravity and ferocity triggers hostile web corps around her. She remains stern in her undaunted courage and rise like a phoenix from the ashes of injustices and discriminations, never bothering, never regretting her efforts. Women today are sedulous in their seamless resolutions, much fanatic about her dreams and aspirations to materialize. She always perseveres with immense potential to aggrandize, pouring out her soul into each and every relation. She protects the world in her bosom, singing lullabies, being empathetic, benevolent, and merciful. She often resolves matters of contention. Graceful, dignified, distinguished, and competent other define her magnificence. Her nobility and innocence has always been examined by the society. Her enigmatic, dynamic, and inspiring personality often bestows her as a matriarch and a shoulder to lean on. Her charm and beauty is beyond any discernment. Her genuine rights are enveloped in her priorities over her family. She's like a songbird whose melodies transform hearts into an oblivion. Empowered to rule a country with her diligence, she proves her worth. She's tolerant, she's affectionate, she's amiable and serene, yet she is a caged bird in various spheres of life to be demeaned. She is trafficked or oppressed for dowry. Her wings are perforated with acids of depravity. Her innocence is mashed by the greed of oppressors. Her dignity and respect calls for an emancipation. There she squawks over a vulnerability. She evokes the world to free her from the bondage of marriage or labor. Respect that she earned from her contributions must not be a snare to degrade her. Thank you so much for listening to my poem. Thank you.
Wow, Somdatta, that was phenomenal. Actually, women are phenomenal according to your poem, and it's rendered so well. Very well recited also. Yeah. Neelam, what would you like to say?
No, Somdatta's rendition is always very powerful. So I have listened to her many times. I suppose only we were together once in a poetry meet, but I've listened several times. So the poem was also strong and the rendition was also wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Neelam. Taking the meet forward, I would invite now Rita ji, please come forward and let's listen to your poem.
Thank you. This time I chose a nature poem. It's called The Soul Discovers Its Eternity. In continuous thoughts, the mind becomes an opaque screen, imprisoned in the world of shapes, of forms. Else, it is engaged in the consciousness of the unmanifested, the beyond. But in walking with nature, my mind honors that rapturous realm, absorbed to the brim, leaving no space for its mental habit of labeling. A tranquil wave of freedom sweeps over me. Stillness echoes laughter of the winds. Silence screams ecstasy to the grace of mighty mountains in a glorious burst of white. The sun-kissing peaks reflect expressive colors. The mind's eye moves across a compelling canvas to suit its parameters of art and beauty. The walk with nature continues. In the immeasurable infinite umbrella of blue, the upward gaze connects with diverse philosophical strands. The silent core of the being discovers romance in penning these lines and bows its head to the elements, earth, water, air, fire, and space, symbols of birth, rebirth, life, death, nostalgia, joy. The soul, in its metaphorical journey of love, discovers its own eternity. Thank you. Thank you.
So very poignant again, Rita ji, and about the soul's journey and um, its feelings and its journey to the eternity. Very well described. Thank you. Thank you for those lines. Purnima ji, what would you like to say about Rita's poem? Purnima ji, please unmute.
Yes, Ritaji's poem, very strong. And when she talks about the five elements of nature, the way, nobody knows where the soul goes, but ultimately, the body having gone back to the five elements, the soul definitely wanders and again comes back through these five elements. So it's a cycle of the birth and rebirth goes on, I think. wonderfully
Yes, very
brought out.
nice. Thank you. So well said.
So well said. Absolutely. Thank you. So, taking the meet forward, Purnimaji, I invite you now for your second poem. And you said it is on spring, I think. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Anshuji. It's a small poem titled Spring. Wintry slumber blankets cast, earth yawned and stretched, flashes bright of orange red, the forests shyly blushed, ushering new life in verdant sprouts. Spring gently tiptoed, then to the ballet of ants and beetles, the avians merrily cooed. Water droplets slowly rolled, the snow too thawed in lace. Water droplets slowly rolled, the snow too thawed in lace, into rivulets and join, and soon the rivers roared. New energy on the banks. The grass smiled in green. Tulips and daisies swayed in frolic unseen. The ripening panicles in green gold fields, the sweet smelling bunches of mango flowers, the gulmohar blooms and the tender neem shoots all seem to waltz to the melody in the koel's song. Courting birds too sang and fluttered, resonated their mood in hearts both young and old. Springs of love burst into colors as lovers often met. With abandon, the warm air danced in spring's embrace. With abandon, the warm air danced in spring's embrace. Thank you.
Wow. Absolutely. A different tone altogether now that we got from the
Thank
soul's
you. Thank you.
eternity to the spring. And
Yeah.
what would you like to say, Somdatta, about her poem? Somdatta,
It
your comments,
definitely,
please.
yes, thank you, ma'am. It resonates to definitely this wonderful season, beautiful season of love. And it has all the elements that one can rejoice with, being there for each other, connecting to hearts, and, rejoice and, merrymaking with each other, and, enjoy the season as a whole, and bring forth the, recipes of love all entwined together.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
all
Thank you
entwined
so much.
together. Very well said,
Thank you.
Somdatta. Yeah. So thank you, Purnimaji, for that lovely poem. And coming back to
Most welcome.
our senior most poet today, Padmajaji. Padmajaji, you are welcome with your second poem. Please, it's called The Final Flight, I think. Final
Yes.
Flight? Yes,
Yes.
please.
Thank you. Since today's theme was love, I wanted to take another side of love, what we call in Sanskrit or Hindi, Viraha Vedana, at one
Correct,
level.
correct.
And maybe it's
Absolutely.
also my
Another level.
conversation with God at another level. So this is what my poem, The Final Flight, tries to convey. But before I do that, I want to take this opportunity to compliment and thank Neelam for providing this excellent platform to all of us, to, for all of us poets to, blossom and, share our poetry and, and be heard. It's such a wonderful platform, Neelam, and thank you very much for it. And all my blessings to you always. The title of my poem is The Final Flight. The more I love him, the more he seems to ignore me. What all should I go through to make him my love see? What all should I go through to make him my love see? I search for him inside me for a bit of his loving presence, but all I find is a dark emptiness enhanced by his absence. I keep asking myself, what should I do? What should I do? Where is he? Where is he? Please show me a small clue. Restless, sleepless, hungerless, thirstless, senseless, clueless, I search for him everywhere, only to find his evasion ruthless. I search for him everywhere, only to find his evasion ruthless. Why is it that the more we crave for someone's attention, the more are we ignored by that indifferent someone? Hours, days, nights, weeks, months, years rolled by and on, till lifeless I lay on my deathbed, hoping for my bright dawn, hoping for my bright dawn. Suddenly, I felt a light glow within me, trying to leave my being, which seemed to say, "Here I am, dear, it is me you are seeing." Which seemed to say, "Here I am, dear, it is me you are seeing." Leaving my lifeless body behind, my soul followed that light. With my entire being aglow with his love, I took my final flight. With my entire being aglow with his love, I took my final flight. Thank you.
Very well. Very, very poignant again, Padmajaji.
Thank you.
Especially the part I loved. Why is it that when somebody is being indifferent, we keep craving for their attention? And
Yes.
that line is really so true and so valid. So thank you for that poem.
I think human beings by nature are attention seeking, though they will not reveal it. But I think everybody likes some attention, some kind
Totally.
of attention. So that's what I
Totally.
try to
And
convey.
yeah, and definitely in your final flight, you do find his hand in your
True.
hands, and and that is what matters. Yes, thank
True.
you. So, Neelam ji or Rita ji, whatever you feel, please go ahead one by one about this poem.
Neelamji, definitely.
See, the poem, the way she rendered Padima and the words that she used were so apt. I really loved the poem. And when she was saying final flight, like my mind went into this thing like, yes, we all have to take a final flight someday, but this was the final poem for the day. And I'm so happy that I became a part. I barged into this poetry meet and listened to some of the very beautiful, wonderful poems with great imagery and metaphors, and lot to learn from each other. So I hope we keep meeting like this. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Well,
That's
thank you
very,
so much.
very
We'll meet only because of you.
Yes, really.
So, and Patty, it was touching.
We'll meet
It
because
was
of poetry.
touching.
We'll meet
Poetry,
because of
yes.
poetry.
Yes, yes. That's
we
very
have a
humble of
common platform and
Yes.
very
Yeah, poetry is
very
our news.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And
It's our
Anshuji
lifeline,
did it
actually.
so well. Yes, Anshuji did it so well.
Yes.
Yes,
So
compliments.
I
thank
think
you.
it
I
was
think we
Claps
very
for
should
well
it.
done. Very well.
Thank you all.
yeah, we should
It was
now
it was
bid
really
goodbye to
a
our
lovely evening
lovely audience.
of
Yeah,
beautiful poetry, and
yeah,
having Neelam ji with us is really a great
yeah.
privilege.
And
Yes.
Purnima ji, I've sent you a chat message for one of the imageries I loved in your
So
latest
Thank
I'll
you,
poem.
end the
thank
Yes.
you.
stream
Sure,
and
sure,
then
we'll
we can continue to
respond to
chat.
it.
I'll end
Thank
the
you so much.
live
Thank
stream,
you.
then we
Yeah.
can
Thank you.
continue to chat. Thank you.
Compliments to
Thank
Anshu
you.
for So beautifully